taken the instrument and had a little time to think about it, what has struck you as interesting about your 5 top themes? Were you surprised by any of them? Were there ones that you thought initially, this isn't really like me, but then when you read a little bit about it, you realized this is like me? What did you think about looking at the 5 different definitions of your top 5 strengths and highlighting part of the description to see something that you had noticed felt a lot like you? I hope you've had time in the last several days to really give this some thought. And now I want to take us to the next step. So I want to talk to you about some themes are more common than others. So if you are somebody who's an achiever, somebody who has a constant drive to get things done, that is a common theme. If you're a learner, someone who enjoys learning and must be constantly challenged, that's a common theme. How about responsibility? Someone who must follow through on commitments. If that's you and you're responsible, that is a common theme. Relators are common themes. People who are seeking deep relationships. And lastly, strategic. People who are able to see through everything in a clear direction. So many of you will look at your top 5 and say, yeah, I've got one of those. And those are more common. You will find those with other people that you're working with or in relationship with. And then there are some that aren't very common. If you have command, that is not a very common theme. So that's great that you would have that. Command is the ability to, just like it says, command, that you're able to talk with people and get them to do what you want. Many people think of command as just military, but it's not true. If you're going to run a business, it can be great to have command. If you're going to run a work site, it can be awesome to have command because then you can direct people to do what they need to do. Self-assurance. That is not very common. Self-assurance, people who have a sense internally that they are right all the time or most of the time, that is not a very common thing. It's a good one. It helps you move with confidence, but it is not very common. Discipline. A lot of us would like more discipline. Disciplined people are able to stay on task. They're very devoted to their task and they're able to follow it through no matter what because they're disciplined. Not extremely common. Others that aren't common are significance, someone who wants to be at the front and to be recognized, and that's really important to them, that their good work is recognized, not very common. And lastly, context, people who can look at what's going on and put it in the context of history or their culture where they work, but they're able to say, we need to look at this within this framework, so context. Another great strength, as they all are, but it is not very common. I also want to talk to you a little bit about the ideas of themes that complement each other. And I do want to point out that 2 of our KW 101 teachers actually have the combination I'm going to talk about. And that is communication, people who are great at communicating with other people in a variety of ways, and woo, which stands for winning others over. And people who have woo are able to, in a good way, not a manipulative way, but in a positive way, are able to help people come around to their way of thinking. So they're great at selling an idea or a concept. Dr. Kyle Biesing and Dr. Andrew Boland both have those 2 in their top 5. Okay, so if I was starting a campaign to do fundraising and I needed people who other people naturally like and who have great communication skills and can talk to somebody at a dinner party or at a ball game easily, I'm going to call one of those 2 professors to come and help me because they have those 2 strengths, and those 2 strengths working together make them even stronger. Okay, another example of complementary strengths would be achiever, people who get things done, and responsibility. Okay, people who take ownership. So if you have somebody, those actually are in my top 5. And I'm somebody that you can count on to get something done. So if you have a task, it's very important. It must be done by a certain time and it must have different parameters, and you have to ask somebody who you know you can count on. If they have to stay up all night or they had to work on it nonstop for days, I would be a great choice for that because I can take my achiever, my need to get it done, and my responsibility, my ownership, put those together, and I'll be successful. So just some information as you're starting to think about your strengths. I mean, as I've talked to you in the last video, The strengths don't define you, they're neutral, they're all positive. So it's not a situation where you need to look at your strengths and say, I wish I had something different. If there's something that you would like to develop, a strength that appeals to you, obviously you can put some resources toward that. But the premise we're working from is through positive psychology that we want to really hone in on things we know you already have a natural talent for, and we want to develop those. So there are 4 different domains that the strengths fall into, and I want to talk to you about those today so that you can look at your top 5 and see where those fall in those 4 different domains. And the first is executing. And the executing domain, people who are dominant in this area know how to make things happen. Okay, those are our achievers, we know that. When the team needs to implement a solution, these folks are going to get it done. And those people who are strong in executing have the ability to catch an idea and to make it a reality. So here are the executing themes: achiever, arranger, belief, consistency, deliberative, discipline, focus, responsibility, and restorative. So if you have any of those in your top 5, then that's coming from the executing domain. It's going to help you get things done. The next domain is influencing. Those who are dominant in influencing they're able to reach their audience and sell the ideas. Okay? When the team needs someone to take charge, to speak up, to make sure the group is heard, people who are influencing are going to be able to do that. Okay? They're able to influence other people. Activators, people who have command or communication. People who are maximizers or have self-assurance or significance, or who have woo, to win others over. Okay? Those are all the influencing themes. Do you have any of those? Okay? If you do, that's great. Know that that's going to help you influence people in the future. Next up is relationship building. Those with dominant themes in the relationship building can provide the real essential glue to hold a team together. Instead of the team feeling like it's just a composite of individuals. Okay? If you have relationship building, the team gels more. People who have strengths in these domains have the unique ability to help the team be stronger than the sum of its parts. Stephen Covey calls this synergy. Okay, but that's what you're bringing if you bring any of the relationship building skills. And those are adaptability, connectedness, developer, empathy, harmony, includer, individualization, positivity, or relator. So if you have any of those in your top 5, then you are bringing some of the relationship building skills. Lastly, strategic thinking. People who are strong in strategic team thinking keep the team on track, keep them focused about what they're doing and where they need to go. People's strategic thinking also can often help the team make better decisions because they're looking at all the parts strategically and they have a lot of focus. And people who bring skills in this domain often are able to stretch the team further. Okay, so we have this, we're working on something and it's going well, but somebody in our group who's a strategic thinker can take us even further for that. Strategic thinking, analytical, context, futuristic, ideation, input, intellection, learner, and strategic. Now some of you at this point are looking at your top 5 and you're thinking, I should have at least one from all of these areas. That's not true. Okay. I actually worked with a client recently. All of his top 5 were in strategic thinking. Okay. And he was amazing in working in a group setting for the special skills he brought. There were other things he wasn't as strong in. He wasn't great at building the relationships. He wasn't somebody who influenced other people. That was okay. What he did in strategic thinking brought so much to the team, and other people had strengths that could complement his, and so he was a great addition. And I would say, again, to stress, all the strengths are positive. It's just about what you're naturally good at and developing those and make them even stronger. So please don't be putting pressure on yourself. I wish I was something else. Oh my gosh, I don't have relationship building, so I'm terrible with other people. Not true at all. Okay, so just keep that in mind. 4 domains, look at where you are especially strong. I have a handout that's coming to you so you can spend a little more time thinking about this. It's okay if you have 1 in each. It's okay if you have all of